Sorry, Kyle, we didn't record you.
Oh, darn it, come on.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing and we're gonna go this way. All right, so I started working on this presentation a couple weeks ago, started putting it together, and then last night I'm like building this like fancy PowerPoint. And then I thought, I'm going about this the wrong way because I know a lot of you guys have a lot of expertise in different areas. And it would be a huge waste of an opportunity not to make this more of a collaboration and a mastermind, because what I want to do is pull all of our information together, and then I'm just going to set up the frameworks on how to put this together. So the title of this class, right, is how to find and attract motivated buyers through different opportunities that are in the market, like the assumables, the down payment assistance programs, those kind of things that we're going to attract. There's a framework to do that. And so that's more importantly than anything is that you know the framework, because the market's always going to change, right? There's going to be new opportunities next year that aren't here this year. 3 years from now, the market's going to be completely different than it is today. And if I just make it so basic where it's like, you know, here's what works right now, that's going to not serve you for the next 3 months, but it's not going to actually change your understanding of how to draft and come up with these opportunities on your own. Does that make sense? So I'm going to walk us through like a framework of how to do this, and we're going to come up with them. Don't get me wrong. We're all going to leave here today with really good marketing opportunities, but they're going to be specific to each and every one of them, right? So instead of me saying, this is what I'm doing, everybody might be a little different, right? And then you're going to each have your framework. Is that cool? Does that sound better? Okay. Now the question is, can we get through it in an hour and a half? So we'll see how magical that is. So starting off, this is really about marketing, right? Now, yes, you can prospect through it, but it's really geared around your marketing and your marketing message. So in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, what percentage of your budget should you be spending on your marketing?
20%.
30.
So we need to all read this book? What'd you say? 10. That's close. It's 11. It's 11% of your budget should be spent on marketing. Now that's of your gross commission income. Now, if you're new in the business or newer in the business, or you're ramping your business up, your percentage might be a little bit higher if you're a marketing-based business. So there's 3 pillars, right, to all of our businesses. We have database management. That's us managing the people that we already know, right? And how do we maintain the relationships with the people we met? It could be from an open house, that could be Spear, that could be everything. Prospecting is how do we get in contact with people we don't know, okay? Because when calling your database is not prospecting, I'm just telling you. That's called following up. That's like keeping in touch. That's kind of the basics, right? But calling a FISBO, you don't know them. That's prospecting. Calling an expired, calling your neighborhood, calling B2B that you don't know, that's prospecting, okay? And then marketing is also geared towards people you don't know. If you're marketing to your sphere, if you're mailing postcards to your sphere, newsletters to your sphere, it's database management, okay? This is my definition, by the way, okay? So today what we're doing is we're gonna craft a message that's gonna relate to an ideal client for you. So we're gonna come up with a demographic of client, a type of client, obviously not race, creed, color, religion, national status, familial status, sexual preference, or handicap, not one of those demographics, but we're gonna come up with a type of client, first-time buyer, move-up buyer, right? Investor, fix and flipper, buy and hold, right? The type of client that you wanna work with, and you're gonna craft a message, and then we're gonna use the properties that we're gonna talk about today as the bait to get the buyers to respond to us, okay? Does that make sense? Because I'll tell you, I mean, I was in real estate 15 years before I joined Keller Williams, 15, 16 years. And they were like, you should prospect every day. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, oh, the top producers prospect every day. And I'm like, I closed 144 sides last year and I've never made a cold call. I'm not gonna do that. Right? Because I'm a marketing-based person. I've always knew how to place ads, run ads, attract people through the messaging to get them to contact me. And then I call them and I service them from that point, right? There's nothing wrong with being a prospector. It's just not me, right? How many of you guys love like calling people on the phone that don't want you to call?
The best.
It's the best. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. I don't love it, right? Okay, hold on. I gotta send this to. I gotta send this over because I thought I printed this, but it did not print.
It's at your house probably.
So bad, so bad. Please print. Okay. All right, so this is what I love about this market is this market is full of a lot of challenges for buyers. So what we want to start off with is what, because again, this is about attracting motivated buyers. What are the challenges that buyers are facing right now? What are they telling us, or what is their frustration about buying right now?
Interest rates.
Okay, Ronnie, I just sent it to you. Okay, so interest rates, they say, interest rates. Is that what they say? Put it in the term of a buyer. Does a buyer say, I'm not buying because of interest rate?
The interest rates are too high.
It's not affordable.
I can't afford it.
Cost.
You guys talk like a bunch of realtors. That's not what buyers say. What do they say? I can't afford what? I can't afford the payment. Okay, who here would live in a $3 million house if the payment was $1,500 a month? Okay, it's not the price, guys. It's not the price. It's the payment. That's what they're. No, they don't say that. No client says it's not affordable. They say I can't afford the payment. Right? Affordability is a junk word. Don't use junk words in marketing. Speak right to them like they're a ninth grader, right? Ninth grader, you go to the store with your 12-year-old or your 15-year-old, and they go, hey, I want the new PlayStation, whatever, and you go, it's not affordable, right? They go, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know. Speak very basic, right? So the payment. Their frustration is the payment are too high, right? That's not interest rate. I met with a buyer this morning, I had an inspection this morning, we were talking interest rate. She had no clue what I was talking about. She had no clue. She's under contract. She doesn't even know what her rate is. Guess what she knows? My payment is $42.44 a month.
And I can afford that.
And I can afford that. When we were negotiating, every comment she said was, like, when we started, our offer was made, her payment was $13.90. We
went up to 44.
14, yeah, went up like something, because we offered low. And so we went back and forth. So it's for every $1,000, it's $7 a month. Right? So she's like, how much per month is this gonna cost me? Right? Okay, when you see a car ad running, do they say, buy this car, it's 50,000? No, think of Mercedes-Benz ad. What does it say?
$69 a month.
Yeah, $600 a month, $449 a month lease, whatever. They don't advertise the price of the car because they know the customers don't care about that. They care about what the payment is. Okay. What else do a real buyer say that they can't buy, that they're not going to buy?
I got the economy is crazy right now.
So what does that mean?
They're waiting for the market to change, or waiting for the interest rates to come down. Or waiting for
Okay, so waiting for. So what would we say to somebody who says, I'm waiting for the economy to get better? What does that mean to you? What does the economy changing mean to you?
They want to buy and they want
their investment to appreciate,
So they're waiting for the market to appreciate.
well, to get into a mode versus now.
For what are they waiting for? They're not waiting for the economy.
Prices
To what?
drop.
That would be the economy's going down, not up.
They want the market to be increasing, so what is the word you're looking for?
You're waiting for the market to go up, so you're waiting for things to be more expensive.
Waiting for what? Buyer's
Okay,
market?
let me tell you, buyers don't say any of that, guys. You guys are saying that because you're justifying it in your mind.
Waiting for the prices to go down? The price of the house?
They might be, yeah, they might be waiting for, their fear might be that they pay now one price and it's gonna be worth less in the future and they're gonna lose money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's waiting for the market to get better, but they don't say, I'm waiting for prices to go up, right? Because if the economy gets better, prices are gonna go up. So they're waiting for the market, they're waiting for, let's rephrase this. Their frustration is they feel the market will fall.
Tank.
Yeah, especially people, I mean, I don't know about you, my kids were young when the recession hit. We were living in a 6,000 square foot house, 4-car garage with an Olympic sized swimming pool. I had a mountain house, I had 13 cars, I had a boat, an RV, and they watched it all go away. And they think, ooh, real estate's scary, right?
When was this?
When was this?
Yeah.
2008, 2009. Yeah.
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 I bet. Bringing it on?
I had 117 doors in 2008, man. Yeah, it killed me. But my kids are like, I don't want to invest in real estate. I don't want to buy real estate. My son, he's a nurse. He didn't want to buy real estate because he associates it with pain. We lived in this nice big house and then we rented this really ugly house with spiders. That's what he remembers, right?
Spiders, that's always a good. My kids are the exact inverse.
Yeah.
Because we started buying in 08.
Right.
So they saw it go from little to a lot.
Yeah. So they associate it with what they saw, whoever it is, right, associates it with what they saw. Okay. So they feel the market will fall. Are your kids hesitant to buy?
Well, they don't have any money. They want me to buy it for them. So no.
They saw that too?
Okay, what's the other? So the payments are too high. Their other frustration is they feel like the market will fall. So what's another one?
Down payment money.
Yeah, they don't. Here's the truth. It's not even that. They feel, they believe, I'm gonna say believe. They don't have enough money. Yeah, they believe they don't have enough money. I met these buyers at this open house. They're in their 30s, thought they had to have 20% down. And they saved it. They make $200,000 a year and live in Indiana. And they have $100 and something thousand saved to put down on their house because they thought they had to have 20%. And I was like, interesting.
How long have they been saving?
Well, I didn't ask. Yeah. Long enough. Okay, any other frustrations that you can think of? Payments are too high, market will fall, they believe they don't have enough money.
Let's put them in the position of being a sell by, right? Because then it starts with the sale part before they even get to this part.
Help me with that. So
So they're gonna buy a house if they can sell their house, right? Like this is a downsize or an upgrade right now. A lot of times to get a seller to buy, we gotta sell their house first.
yeah, so is that a motivated buyer? I think the problem with that one then is that demographic switches because that's less motivated of a buyer. If they're a sell by and they're getting relocated,
Yeah,
it kind of solves itself.
right.
If they're a sell by,
Well, yeah, they're not motivated till they sell.
Yeah.
Until they're homeless.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
I was trying to think of objections.
yeah, I get it. I thought about that one earlier and I just feel like that's not the target for this class, for this presentation. I don't think that's the target demographic we're looking for because of the M word, motivated. You know, if I get $1 million for my house, then I want to get top dollar for my house. And when I get that, then I'm gonna go tear apart the other person because this market's horrible. Okay, so are you in a bubble? Like, what market are you in, right? Well, my house. What do you got?
To piggyback on that, if you're, I don't know if this is exactly what you're looking for, but if your lease is expiring, you don't wanna rent anymore, or you have an issue.
But is that their frustration?
What about not getting approved?
Um,
They're worried they won't get approved.
oh, that's a good one, credit, right?
Yeah, credit and debt.
Frustration. Okay, I'm done. Okay, don't know if they qualify. And I'm gonna put credit or DTI. And of course, they don't say that, but they just don't know, right? They don't know what qualification even means.
What is it, credit for what again?
Credit or debt to income ratio. So here's a true story. So when I bought my first house, or I tried to buy my first house, I didn't qualify and I lost my earnest money, but we'll talk about that later. I had bought a bunch of vehicles. I had bought, you know, a brand new car when I was like 18 and, you know, but another one when I was like 21. And I learned that if you go to the dealership and you just lie about how much money you make, they'll let you leave with the brand new Z71 Chevy step-side pickup truck for $475 a month, even though you make $18,000 a year, which was pretty awesome, right? So I was like this 19-year-old. Actually, I bought my first car at 17. I bought a Hyundai Scoop, the canary yellow one, driving it around in high school. I was 17. They never asked my age. I had to return it after 6 months, never made a payment on it. So I had learned, I never made a payment. So they couldn't give me credit. I know, that's a good old John Ratola. So I learned that if I lied, I could get qualified. So when I went under contract on my first house, I lied to the lender about how much income I made. I lied to the lender about, is that your Chevy Z71 step side that's on your credit report? And I said, no. And he goes, isn't it right there in the parking lot? And I said, yeah. And he says, well, whose truck is that? I'm like, not mine. Yeah, because I thought I could lie my way through it. So it's just true. I didn't understand that they verified all this stuff, right? That I didn't understand that they checked it. So I ended up getting denied. And I lost my earnest money on my first purchase, right? I was 19. Okay. Here's our frustrations. Now what I want to do is we're going to break down the solutions to this that exist in the marketplace today for these things, okay? Super important, okay? Because what we're gonna do is then we're gonna tie these frustrations to a solution. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna market and deliver that solution to where you're the person who, more than anybody else in their world, is the expert of this solution. And it doesn't have to be all of them. Okay. All right, so let's take this first one. Payments are too high. What are ways we can solve the payment issue? Specific. That doesn't mean anything to a buyer. Speak like I'm not, speak like I'm in 9th grade. What does that mean? I'm in 9th grade.
The seller buy down your rate so your payment's lower.
Seller, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Seller pays to lower your rate to get lower payment. Right? Is that 9th grade level? Okay, what else?
Assume somebody else's loan that's got a lower payment.
9th grade.
I can get you a 3% interest rate on this property.
Which means,
It covers
That
the
your
monthly
monthly
payments.
payment will be much lower.
how much lower? Have you done the math on those worksheets I sent out? It's like, yeah, it's $500 to $800 a month less, right? Did you see Michael goes, wow, that's what we're trying to go for, guys. If your marketing and messaging isn't saying wow, nobody's gonna respond to it, right? So assume, get 3% or lower by assuming others mortgage save 500 to 700 a month. Right? What else? Saving payments, saving on monthly payment.
Negotiate this purchase price.
Yeah. Negotiate lower purchase price. All right, so if you negotiate 10,000 off, how much does it affect your payment?
$100?
Not quite,
50?
a little more,
70?
70 bucks, okay? $70 for every 10,000 you negotiate. Not great, not great. So yes, but I don't think if you said to a buyer, hire me and I'm gonna cut $10,000 off the payment, or I'm gonna $10,000 off the price and save you 70 bucks a month, I don't think any buyer is, picking up the phone to dial your number, right? So that's why that messaging is falling flat right now. That was good messaging. I'm not digging on you. So- okay, yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted you to know, right? That messaging was really good during 2021, 2022. I can negotiate you the best price because there was multiple offers and competing and all that stuff. And so that was a legitimate negotiation technique, but today it kind of falls flat, right? I mean, you take $100,000 off and it's gonna save them 700 bucks a month. On 100,000. Not great, right? Okay, what else? What other ways? Get them lower payment. So many.
Get a roommate.
I think that's legit, yeah. House hacking, right?
Look at their price.
ADU.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put house hacking and ADU. In fact, that buyer appointment I told you about, the guy who saved 20% down, his way of getting his payment lower was to find a house with an ADU. So he said, so in our buyer meeting with Sophia, which why isn't she in here again? She drives me crazy, the girl. And she asked me these questions later and I'm like, literally, I just taught that yesterday. So.
Working for you.
She worked for me, trust me. She worked for me, the conversation would be totally different. But his way of getting his payment down in his mind was to buy a house with an ADU so he could rent it out, okay, and short-term rental it. Here was the challenge, as his buyer's agent, he can only go to 600,000. How many homes have a ADU under 600,000? So his solution made it actually harder for me to find him a house. Right, and I don't know if you tried to search ADUs, but the real estate agents aren't really good about putting them in the MLS correctly. So it's really hard to find them. So his solution made my job harder. Right, so I said, why don't we just find an assumable? Gets you the same payment, because he wants a payment at 300 or at 3,000. I can find you an assumable all day long at 3,000. And we have, 10 to pick from versus one ADU that, hasn't been updated in 20 years, right? And it's like illegal, the little windows.
Hey Sean, is there a field on MLS to search for assumables?
Not, well, we're gonna show, I'm gonna go through
Or
that.
just maybe just do a wildcard search for the word.
There is, you have to add it into your additional fields and it's a very specific one, some
We're
agents.
gonna go
actually-
through it.
Yes. All right.
That's what I do, I find houses.
I'll show you the trick. There's a trick to find it. Okay, let's go to, I don't believe I have enough money. Damn, don't do it.
I'm not doing it.
Okay, I'll show you, there's a trick, there's a fast way, you're doing it the hard way. Okay, they believe that they don't have enough money, what's the money solutions that we have?
Down payment assistance, CHFA. even though-
Specific, I'm ninth grade. No payment
You
assistance.
can buy a house for $1,000 down.
Take your money out of your 401k.
Wait, go with down payment assistance. I'm in ninth grade and he says, buy a house for $1,000 down, that's great. But why? You gotta tell them why, like why? Like
Government programs that can help you with your down payment.
that, not can, will. There's government programs that will help you or will pay your down payment. You see the shift in that? Isn't that better? Isn't that like, okay, so government programs. Will pay down payment. And I think one of the careful things is CHFA technically isn't a government program, guys. It's a for-profit business. It's quasi-governmental. It's not governmental, because if you say to some people, the government will pay your down payment, they go, I'm not gonna do that, I'm responsible, I'm not taking welfare, right? And they, all of a sudden you lose them because they get triggered that the government's giving people money. CHFA's for profit. And they make a lot of profit. Okay, the CFO of CHFA is a friend of mine. They make a lot. They own the building right across from the Rockies Stadium. It is a 4-story, beautiful building. And that's just one of them that they own. They own a bunch of stuff in downtown Denver. So there are programs that'll pay your down payment, that'll grant you your down payment. Okay, what else? And you said, I love what you said, minimum of $1,000. You know, you need as little as $1,000. Okay.
You can borrow from your life insurance or 401k.
That doesn't sound nearly as exciting though.
Not.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not really low down, right? That's just like borrowing from yourself, right? So I feel like, yes, that is a solution, but I don't think it's not the bait that somebody's gonna bite on. Like, we want that sticky, like, messaging that's like, oh my gosh, that's what I want, that's what I'm looking for, okay?
I saw Lender's Facebook post, he has a conventional program for 1% down.
I'm ninth grade.
So the 1% down conventional will save you, the mortgage interest saves you a couple $100 a month on your payment.
It's 1% with no MI.
I haven't talked to him about it, but that's what his program is.
Is that what he said? 1% with no MI.
What's the month?
Mortgage insurance, so it's your monthly. Yeah. Okay, but as a ninth grader, that's too complicated for me. Right? Like, okay, let me give you an example. Today I'm in this house with this inspection. And they point at the wall and they go, what is that on the wall? And I said, that's the doorbell. That's the dinger. Bing. They go, oh, it sure is ugly. Can I replace it? And I said, yeah, we probably buy a cover off of Amazon. These are the clientele we're looking for, people. These are the people who don't currently own a home that are willing to buy today. That's why I'm saying ninth grade level. You guys we're way too used to dealing with higher net worth people that buy and sell based off of logic and money. Those people are moving right now. I'm not moving. Why am I not moving? Because I have a 3% interest rate and a 5,000 square foot house. Ain't going nowhere, right? Everything else I looked at is half the size and more expensive. No thanks, I'm good. We're not talking to that demographic. We're looking for motivated buyers. These people have never owned a home before. Sometimes generationally, they haven't owned a home before. Right? This one, I sold her mom her home in 1997 is when I sold her mom her home. So this is who we're looking for. So we got to speak to a group of people who are like, oh my gosh, I can get into a home, right? So how would you say that?
I went on a different train of thought.
You were yelling at it, so.
Am I yelling?
Yeah.
I'm intense.
So the answer to the first handout, the first question on the handout, my target client is a motivated ninth grader.
Here's my point. Your motivated buyers today, where you're looking at pools of buyers, are going to be probably between the age of 25 and 40. What's the average age of first time buyer right now? Do you guys know? 38, oldest it's ever been in US history. Yeah. 30 years ago, what was the average age of first time buyer? It was early 20s, 25, 26, okay? Was the average age of first time buyer. It's 38 now. So our demographic has shifted massively, and there's this huge pool of people who don't know that they can buy. Huge pool. And it's not that they don't have jobs, right? This buyer that I'm working with, she makes $120,000 a year. She makes 120. She's second year in nursing, makes 120 grand a year. And her payment's 42, 44.
Crazy.
My payment's not 42, 44.
That's kind of the other thing that I've heard from buyers is that it's gonna cost them less to rent and wait it out.
That's true.
Like, that's literally just been kind of like, I'm
That's that
staying,
way
I'm
we had
renewing my
the
lease.
market. One, yeah.
Except it's no waiting it out, it's not going
Yeah.
better. So that's, they don't understand that.
Yeah, because as soon as rates go down, prices are gonna,
That's
yeah.
30 years old and not updated, and the market's a little.
I've been saying to people that the system's rigged to keep poor people poor.
Yes.
Everybody I say that to says, I agree. So they're gonna agree with that, and then start from there. If you don't want to stay poor, then let me help you figure this out.
I would
Because
work.
everybody believes that the system's rigged that way, and it is. That's how the tax code is set up.
Actually, if you reword it, because you're so close, but you did the negative.
Okay?
So it's not that it's designed to keep people poor, it's designed to reward homeowners. The entire system is rigged towards homeownership.
Yeah.
Period. There's a great book called Abundance that just came out. It came out like 6 months ago. And he has a whole chapter on this is the biggest challenge is the US tax code was written for homeownership. And so everybody is tied up and there's no benefit of liquidating because your highest net worth is in your asset that you get to depreciate and you get to write off the interest, et cetera, et cetera. He says, so there's no benefit in selling now. And he's like, so now there's this lack of inventory because, well, I don't want you to build houses next to me because if you build a low, high density houses next to me, my value will go down. That's my net worth. So the system is rigged for homeowners and investors. Like, I mean, I pay like 8% taxes because I depreciate everything. I'm like, oh, is that a light switch? We can depreciate that. Put a lamp in there. Let's depreciate that. Okay. Don't know if they qualify. Okay, so let's go through credit. DTI is kind of solved with payment, right? It could be solved with payment. It could be solved with the assumable. It could be solved with selling stuff, but nobody wants to see that. Hey, buy a house and sell your car. Like that's not too exciting. Credit. How do we solve credit? What's some programs?
Air programs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a decent one, you know. Do you think you have bad credit? I can help you get your credit solved.
Or are you saying more like loan programs, like FHA, like allowing like 580 credit scores?
And it doesn't have to be like, we chunk this together like FHA, but we know that different lenders have different guidelines within FHA, right? Because there's banks that can lend their own money and still be FHA insured. And then they can do They can do things where they can get all the way down to, 560. I thought I saw one the other day, it was like 520 FICO, somebody who was advertising. Did you see that?
You're 580, it's one of the two.
Yeah.
It's kind of like 3 points origination.
So what were we calling this? We were calling this, credit repair. Repair. And here's the thing, if I have a 520 FICO score on an FHA and you have a 650, what is the rate difference?
Right, 2%.
There's not. There's an MI difference. The MI can be adjusted, but the interest rate's the same, so they don't even get penalized for having a lower, it's like you get the loan or you don't get the loan.
Is there a point where the rate does get better if they go over a certain higher number?
More down payment. Or what?
Isn't it 680 to 740 is the best bracket for?
And then they
interest
get a
rates?
lower rate on FHA? I don't think FHA
Maybe
matters.
not enough, I don't know.
Well, I'm not a lender,
Yeah,
but I know the MI can change. Yeah,
I've got a client right now, we're waiting till January. She went through, she's making $120,000 a year too, but she just went through a bankruptcy.
yeah. Yeah.
A year, if she reaches a year in January with court approval, she can buy a house.
interesting.
Yeah, with a check, with a
FHA loan.
chapter 13, it's 13 months.
Yeah.
It's 12 months of payments you can buy in your 13th month. If it's chapter 7, it's 2 full years you can buy. 2 years, chapter 7. Yeah, conventional, it's 5 years on a conventional after chapter 7. Okay. Here's the thing. Let's run through really quick for sanity's sake. When we go back to the down payment programs, here's what they are, okay? You ready? CHFA, Metro DPA, USDA, what was the one you were talking about yesterday?
CRA, Credit or Community Reinvestment Act.
And they do,
It's not really, I don't know, it's a lender incentive, so I think you can use it towards your down payment, towards closing costs, or towards, whatever.
so those are 4 programs right there that are,
Last one, what was the same again?
CHFA, it's CHFA, Metro DPA,
yep, check,
USDA, and then Community Reinvestment Act.
yeah. So there's 4 programs. So you need to learn those programs. Call your lenders and say, do you have access to these programs? Meet with them, learn them up, down, left, right. I was putting this all on a PowerPoint and I thought, you know what? You're gonna take a photo of it and never look at it again. Go meet with a lender, learn, and you don't have to learn all of them. Learn 1 or 2 of them, but know them inside and out. But CHFA is a really good program. It's been around a long time. It's fairly easy to use. Like that's kind of your basic, right? Okay. Lowering your rate. So you could buy down your rate over 30 years. You could buy down your rate on a short-term buy down, right? So short-term buy down, if the rates are 7, it starts at 5 for 12 months. It goes to 6 for 12 months. And then it goes to 7 for the remainder of the year. The good news about a short-term buy down is if they refinance, that credit goes back to them. If you buy down the rate from 7 to 6.5 over 30 years, it costs a fortune to do that. And if you refinance, that money's lost, okay? Because you prepaid the interest, it's gone. The money's not refunded to you. So I don't love the buy downs, okay? I don't mind a 2-1 buy down, but a long-term buy down, there's not a huge benefit unless it's a home builder. So how do you get a lower rate? Home builders are offering $399 on some houses. If they're super motivated on an inventory house, so that's a house that they built for client A didn't end up buying it. They're putting it back on the market with brown floors and green cabinets, right? They need to get rid of this house because it's sitting on their sheets, right? Because builders have construction loans. If they sit on a finished product too long, they have to convert it to permanent financing, okay? They don't want to do that. It costs them a fortune to do that. So what they do is they just discount that property to get it sold. They'll pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in incentives to get properties off their books because they can't sit on those properties. They'll do that and they'll buy that rate down, right? So they'll spend $25,000, $30,000 to drop that rate to $499, $399, right? And pay closing costs, right? So That's a great way to solve this. Now, let me ask you. I know a lot of you are sitting here thinking, yeah, I already know this, Sean. Who are you telling? How are you telling them? Are you communicating this to people? What?
Yeah.
You are? How are you doing it?
Well,
Sure.
this one was an easy one, because it was a buyer that Kathy already had, I was showing houses to, but we looked at a bunch of townhomes and she liked the most expensive one, and I was like, well, just ask the seller to buy down a rate. Like, we can offer like more on the house than like, yeah.
Okay, yes, that's wonderful. That's not what I mean.
But I know it doesn't apply to this, but she didn't know that, and it changed her whole perspective of the buying process.
What's her name?
Tiana.
How many Tianas do you think are in Denver? Yeah. There's only, Denver's population is like 2.8 million. There's probably a good 30,000 Tianas out there. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no shortage of opportunity. In fact, the softening market makes the opportunities better. Okay? This is why I wrote up this exercise. So what are some, did we catch everything? Like, what are the other, so builder incentives, hold on, I got a list.
There's one that Patrick suggested or gave me on my listing for 5/6 arm.
And lender incentives, yeah.
Yeah, lender incentives?
Yeah.
So I have builder rate buy downs, seller paid buy downs, assume a low existing interest rate property, improve your credit score, increase your down payment, consider adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs.
Yep.
Patrick talks about ARMs. Shop your lenders, obviously. First time buyer programs. Yeah. Okay, so I think we covered most of those. So what I would love for you to do is just take a moment and think about like who is a type of client that you want to work with. Now, I know I said, deal with the ninth grader. If you don't want to ever deal with a ninth grader and sell, $600,000 houses and make $18,000 and I got about 4 hours into that, that's fine. If you don't want to make $4,000 an hour and you want to chase a different clientele, that's cool with me. You can do that. Write down who your ideal, that was kind of a good. Sometimes. So think about what clientele that you want to work with and write down my ideal client is, right? For me in this market, my ideal client is a renter who has decent income, right? So a renter that's making over $100,000 a year, right? Because I can find them something. They can spend around $3,000 plus per month, okay? It's about a third, right? Yeah, it's at 4,000. Okay, now what are the frustrations of that person? Right? We wrote them down. They feel the market will fall. They fear the market will fall. They feel like payments are too high. They believe that they don't have enough money. And they don't know that they qualify because of credit or debt to income ratio. This is their fears. Okay. And so what is their real problem? What's their real problem? I'll tell you right now, it's us. It's our industry is the problem. Because we just listed all the solutions. And nobody here is communicating them. Not at a high level, right? We're gonna aim to solve that today. I'm not shaming you. I'm just saying, we're not doing a great job as an industry. There's people out there who want to buy. There's people out there that are motivated to buy. We're just not communicating them in a way where we tell them that we have these solutions in a way that they're hearing it. You know the story of Febreze? Remember Febreze? It's nasty. But you know what it is. Okay, so Febreze comes out. So Febreze is a spray that encapsulates the odor molecule. And it kind of desensitizes the odor molecule. So when they came out with this, they said, oh, this is gonna be great. Who is likely gonna buy Febreze? What type of homeowner?
Someone lives in a stinky house.
Somebody who lives in a sticky house. Pets.
Gross people, right?
Yeah, that's what they thought. So originally, Tammy, oh my God, you are so bad. Okay, so when they first started advertising Febreze, it was around pet odor. So they would show a cat using a cat box, and they would show a dog, you know, rolling around like a sweaty, wet dog rolling around on the carpet. And guess what happened with their sales?
It plummeted because those people don't care.
It plummeted because those people don't care. They don't care about the odors. So what did they do?
They marketed to people who have clean houses.
They marketed to people with cleanup. So they changed all of their advertising to somebody who has a spick and span white house with the blue comforter or whatever. And they're walking around and they finish their cleaning and they're spritzing Febreze around their house, and sales went through the roof. Okay. They understood their customer, and they communicated in the words their customer needed to hear. Right? Right? They're not talking like, oh, we're marketing people. Let's sell it to the people with cats and dogs. They're saying, hey, you're renting, you're paying too much for rent. Renting is hazardous to your wealth. You're never, literally.
Rent is hazardous to your wealth. I like that.
I know, that used to be an ad I had in the Rocky Mountain News.
I'm using it.
Literally, the government is working against you as a renter. Everything leans towards home ownership and rewards home ownership. You're missing out on all these opportunities because you believe that your payments are too high, the market might fall, that you don't have enough money or you don't qualify. But what you don't know is I have a solution. This is on your worksheet. I have a solution to that specific problem. And here's why you should not wait any longer. Because you have to deal with urgency. You don't deal with urgency in the marketing, they'll go, oh, that's a great idea, but I don't need to do it now. Right? It's a great idea, but I don't need to do it now. When you create urgency. So what's urgency? Why do we not want to wait for the market to fall?
Tell me.
Because prices can work. Because everything continues to go up regardless.
Yeah, because real estate's like a bicycle wheel going up a hill. It goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, but it's always continuing to rise over time. So how do we say that to a ninth grader? Well, other than this works really well, by the way, you could steal that. You gotta do the finger thing though. How do you break that down to somebody to make them understand that? What was your parents' first house?
$500 a month
500, where was it?
in Englewood.
What'd they pay for it?
I don't know.
But it was $500 a month? You said their first house was what, 8,500?
Long time ago.
Yeah. Would you go back today and buy that house?
Yeah.
8,500, the land's worth freaking 100,000. Yeah, in a heartbeat, right? That's how you handle it. Yeah, was there a recession from the time your parents bought their house to today? Was there? Yeah.
Many.
Yeah, many. But the house still went up, right? That's what we're doing. I get it that you're waiting to time the market, but the longer you wait, the less chance you're gonna have to time it. What I can do is I can get this for you now. Right?
Yeah, the objection I'm getting is that I want to live in a nicer place and I want to wait until I have,
Yeah.
that I can afford, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great one. And totally, right? So how do we overcome that? I want to wait till I get the house that I want, the nice house.
I like Patrick's line, which is while you're waiting for that house and you're gonna save up for 5 years, you might as well be waiting in a home that you own.
Yeah, well, how do you say that to a ninth grader?
Yeah, but they only want to wait like 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Prices are gonna keep going up. But they're watching, they're going down and they're going, well, I'll wait until we hit rock bottom and then I'll have more money and then, yeah, catch it on the upswing, you know.
And the
you're
meteor will
planting.
shoot by at the same time and a donkey will jump over the rainbow, yeah.
This is the 12th grader who goes, I'm gonna catch it on the upswing, not the downswing, like.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've done for that is I've put a paper on the wall and told them like, okay, you need to grab the paper and catch it at the bottom. When they do that. Cause that's how you're.
'Cause they
timing the
miss
market.
it?
You're gonna catch it right at the bottom.
Then they'll just buy it on the floor.
Well, no, saying that you have to catch it before it goes back up.
Yeah.
And I've used that example before.
So there's two things I'll say to that. One, they're not motivated. That's your number one problem. They're not real buyers, right? Because we don't want to get ourselves into a trap where we think we're going to convince people to do stuff or change their perspective. You know, they're not our children. And frankly, like my son's 25, he's a nurse, he could buy a house. He don't want to. And you know what? I have a conversation with him. He's like, I'm not gonna happen. I'm like, okay, whatever, move on. Right? Like, I'm not here to change their perspective. I'm here to find the motivator. There's 2.8 million people in Denver. My son's probably not gonna buy this year. I'm not spending any more time on it. I will go find somebody else. Right? There's somebody else who's like, I'm hungry and I wanna buy. To that point, your first house is not the greatest house. It's your stepping stone house. You're gonna get into it. It's not gonna be great. You're gonna build equity. You're gonna own it 2 to 5 years. Your second house, you're gonna say, hey, I need a little bit bigger house. I need a 3-bed, 2-bath with a 2-car garage. This is kind of more like the house that you're gonna kind of start your family in usually for most people. And then your third house, that's the one when you call me and you go, Sean, I want this neighborhood. I want this many bedrooms, this many baths, and it's gotta have this, this, and this. That's your third house. Nobody started off with their third house, the first house. Right? And that's how I say it. And I tell them my first house was on Sheridan and 80th. It's this little freaking brick ranch I paid $99,000 for, and I sold it for $260, and I thought I was a genius. Thing's worth probably $650 today, right? Payment was $846 a month, and I freaked out. So that was my first house. My second house was a brand new build in Thornton, 3-bed, 2-bath, KB home, tri-level. Ugh, crap. So bad. You had to walk upstairs to get into it, and then there were stairs inside of it. It was like all you were doing is climb the stairs. And then my third house was the nice house. Right?
The one you lost.
No, that was the fourth house. That was her house. She got that. Yeah, that was the divorce house. So, okay, so why your client should wait, right? So now let's go through this exercise, right? Because here's what you're gonna do is, the goal from this is you leave here, now you know your marketing message. Okay, and we're gonna talk about ways that you can market this. So let's walk through it from the beginning. My target client is
Renters with good income.
renters was more specific.
$100,000 a year.
Yeah, more specific, because good income is general.
Okay.
Right? I mean, let's face it,
Good income and good credit. Just can
do we
afford-
care if they have good credit? 520 FICO, baby. Is that good credit?
No, that's not.
Like this 520 FICO can get a Chaffa loan and get into a home today in 30 days.
A
Right?
young family wanting to upgrade,
What?
a young family wanting to upgrade.
Okay, what's the challenge with that? We just talked about that.
They're not
Selling.
motivated.
They have to sell their house.
For an apartment, like an apartment.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. A renting family wanting to upgrade.
Yes.
Okay. The result your client wants. So this is their motivation. What do they want?
No payments.
$30,000 a month.
They want to get into a home with an affordable payment, right? Right? That's what they want. Or they just simply want to get in a home. That's where we're looking for the motivation. They want to get in a home, but they fear these things. They fear these things. Okay? But their real problem is they don't know that there's solutions. My as an agent, what do? Is I solve this problem. We're gonna pick one problem at a time. So each marketing piece on your social media, I don't care if it's an ad in the newspaper, I don't care if it's on Craigslist, I don't care if it's on Facebook. One ad, one solution. One ad, one solution, okay? The reason you shouldn't wait is, that's their call to action. The reason you shouldn't wait is if they do drop interest rates by the end of the year, prices are gonna go back up. This opportunity will go away.
And competition.
And competition.
More people competing for that.
Yeah, gonna go back to bidding wars. So the reason you shouldn't wait is people are gonna go back to bidding wars. So call me now. Call me now. But wait, there's more. And then you're gonna put this into your purpose statement. So this is your purpose statement. So if you think about on social media, you can literally start with this on social media. Hi, my name is Sean Moudry. I help renters that are not making it, that are not building equity, they're not getting interest deductions, buy a home with little or no money down so that they can start building wealth and getting tax deductions right off, et cetera, whatever. Right? That is a specific message. And so you can have multiple purpose statements for each demographic you're focusing on or each solution you're providing. Right? And the more you repeat it, the more you repeat it, the more you repeat it, right? Jake Jabs, what does he do?
He uses tigers.
Not anymore.
Cute tigers.
He got in trouble for that. He got in trouble for his
Did it
tigers.
for a long time.
What does he do? Does anybody have any question what Jake Jabs does?
No.
What kind of furniture does he sell?
Affordable.
Affordable. Cheap. But nobody said expensive. Nobody said high-end furniture, right? So we all know what he does. Why do we know it? Because he knows how to communicate to his market, right? He markets to people who are looking for affordable furniture. Their frustration is they don't have the money. What does he have?
Financing.
Zero down financing, right? They're frustrated that they don't want to wait. What does he have? Inventory. They're frustrated that whatever, they don't have a lot, people don't have a lot of selection. What does he have? Lots of selection, right? He knows his demographic. By the way, I've seen him speak a couple times. The dude is genius. Like he is so good.
He still goes to all his stores too. He's always at the one off of Wadsworth, if you ever wanna see him. He's older than you think. Yeah, he's older than you think, yeah. Then he also has a college of business at Montana State, so he like is behind what he says.
Yeah, he started with a bicycle shop.
Really?
It's the Jabs College of Business, Montana State.
He did write a book. It's not great.
That's not great, but everything
I'll
else.
let you all read it if you want. Okay,
That was a great advertisement for the book.
so now buyers want to buy, right? If we go back to our target demographic, there's two things that they want, right? They want a low payment, they want low down, but what else do they really want? What are they shopping for? A home. So the message in itself won't get you the client. So you need to tie the message to the property. Car ads. You see a car ad, they don't just say, buy a Mercedes GL 450 today for $450 a month lease, $9,099 down, blah, 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 blah. They show the car. And the other mistake agents make is we do the chatty chat, but don't show the product, right? And the belief is in a lot of agents' head is that it has to be your listing or it has to be your product. It doesn't. I sold 72 homes my first year, 0 listings. I sold 104 my second year. 97 were buyers. Okay. 144 my third, I lost count on what the ratio was. I'm hooking them with houses and with messaging, but they weren't my listings. Okay, they're not my listings. So this is where we have to tie the two together, and you have to say, hey, you don't believe me, let me show you. right? So those PDFs I created for Power Up, that's showing you. How much easier was it to have a conversation with the buyer when you're literally going, look, here's the evidence right here. Like you showed that house, right?
Today,
You're showing it today.
yeah, in a couple hours.
Was it easier to say to somebody, hey, you could get a 3-bedroom, 1-bath for $1,600 a month? Or was it easier to say, here's a specific house address, square footage, year of construction, everything. Here's an exact house you could buy right now for $1,600 a month.
So that was a property that the investor had seen before, he just didn't realize it was the VA assumable. And when you realize that you can do that instead of a hard money loan and getting the cost of that versus.
This is me breaking it.
Yeah, that's what.
Look, I'm like Ray Gun up here.
It's for an investor, something like that is beautiful when he's coming out of pocket 25,000 versus what it would have been as a hard money loan or cash.
Right, but how much better was it showing the evidence of the property?
Yeah, sold, it was literally.
Yeah.
Last night, he was like, can we go tonight? I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, you gotta make it easy for them. They can't sit there and digest this information, right? It has to be quick and simple. Okay, so I'm gonna show you really quick on the assumables. The assumables, I know I talk endlessly about it. By the way, Julie Lyons, okay, who, she's on her 37th closing this year already, and her average sales price is 1.2 million. So she's pretty good. She's kind of got her stuff together. She sends me a text on Sunday. Thank you so much for beating the assumable stuff into us. She says, I have 3 assumable listings. And she's like, these other agents at these other companies have no idea what I'm talking about. And she's like, thank you for beating this into us. The reason I do it is because it's a no-brainer. It's so easy. Okay, so we're gonna pull these up. I'm gonna show you how to do it. And there are other ways. Share my screen. Okay, there are websites. There's a website called Assume List, and there's another one called Assumable that is actually Rome. Rome changed their branding to Assumable. And they will source this the same way, but I'm going to just show you how to do it yourself. It doesn't take long. You do have to use a little ChatGPT in my way of doing it. Lee, was it you that had that software that you were showing? Yep. Okay. Lee has a software that'll help kind of do this a little quicker that he got through. Who'd you get it from?
Renee Milliken. Title company.
First Integrity, is that who it was?
Yes.
So it'll pull this stuff. And Heather might have it too, but I don't know. Does Heather's software have it? Don't throw my wife under the bus right now. Seriously.
She has a tool that you can use.
Nice. Good job. Well done. Okay, so notice I went into Realist, okay? I went to RE Colorado, and then I went into Realist. And the reason is because Realist can search the MLS and search county records at the same time. 25 years ago, agents used to submit all of this into the MLS system when we used to control our own data. And we would, when you put in a listing, it used to say, what's the seller's current loan balance? What's the loan type of your seller? What's the interest rate? Is it assumable? And so back when it was literally DOS matrix, we had access to all this information in that MLS. When Zillow came in and they uniformed all the MLSs across the United States to make it so all the data shares correctly, they eliminated a bunch of fields and actually made us dumber as an industry. It's awesome. Yeah, we got dumbed down. But Realist can still do this, okay? So I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna change my county. I'm gonna go Denver, Adams, Boulder.
It sucks that you can't just select all.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm usually not
It says
looking.
select all at the bottom.
I think you can only select up like 5 or something. There's a limited amount you can select.
Bloomfield, where'd Jeffco go? All right, there
Yeah,
we go.
select
Okay,
all.
so we'll do that. Okay. So change county. Okay, and then we're gonna go into. Okay, we're gonna go into our searches and down here, days in MLS, 1+ day. So this just means that it's active. It's currently active in the MLS, right?
How'd you find the counties? I'm kind of
It's right here under Change County, right here. I know it's a stupid spot, dude. I know, it drives me crazy too. Okay, days on market 1+, sale date, March 1st, 2020. Why March 1st, 2020?
That's when the market started going up.
Interest rates, what? They dropped. COVID got announced. They said, oh crap, drop the interest rates.
Let's have another COVID.
Maybe not.
So how'd you get to that? Is it one and then search?
So you have to, there's a customized search button, if you click that, you have to go in and manually add all these fields, and then you'll be able to scroll down.
Yeah, it's right here, customized search. And then you can
Sorry, Sean, I found the counties, but I don't know what you're doing now. I was too busy finding counties.
Customize search, and then we're just going through what you're looking for. And this is all recorded too, I'll send this out, so you guys will have this. Sale date, 3/1/2020. Now, when did interest rates go above 6%? Like middle of 22, okay? Like right in the middle of 22. So the sweet spot on assumables is 2020 to mid 2022, above 6%, and there's not a lot of benefit. There's some benefit, especially for like some of us investors, that if there's no gap difference between what they're asking for the property and the loan amount, and I can assume it and cash flow, but it's pretty hard to cash flow at 6% at a high loan balance, you know, so they're not really good deals. But I just, you know, 5.25, you can usually find stuff that's pretty close to breaking even at that price point, buy something, no money down. Sale type. So here, oh, this is gonna be, is that property type? Oh, I don't, okay, yeah, I don't have anything there. MLS status, active, okay. Loan type is FHA and VA. So FHA, VA, USDA are assumable. Some conventional loans are assumable, but not all, okay? Like very few, like a lot of like the hard money, weird stuff might have an assumable clause in there. Bedrooms, 3 beds, 2 baths, because I was looking for a single family. Current price, I'm gonna change this to 600. Okay. And that's kind of it. Like I want a wide search. I want a wide search. Okay. Okay, now I want to be clear. These properties have assumable loans and are for sale. It does not mean that the seller is offering it assumable, that they'll accept an assumable, or if the agent even knows what assumable is, as you will find out when you're calling them and they tell you it's illegal. I love it.
I just might have a question for you in that regard. I had someone I was talking about this, and you thought they were all repossessions. Is that true?
Yeah.
And I lost you at finding counties. I still don't know.
I reported it, so you can go through at your own pace. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these. So this one here is 9/28/21. Look at this one. Okay, so here's a cute little single family, 4-bed, 2-bath, 585,000. And then we're gonna scroll down here.
There's a way to put single family and condo, is that an
I
option?
think so, yeah. Yeah, there was a property type section. And again, this is garbage in, garbage out. So when whoever was like filling out the information, you know, when you're at closing and it has the property, what is that, deck page? Yeah, if you don't do that correctly, this turns into garbage. Okay. So here we go. So their last sale was September 21. They paid $520 for the house. Here was the details on sales, and then here's the mortgage information. So 9/21, they borrowed $531 on a VA. So they rolled in their funding fee. That's why their loan balance was higher than their purchase price. Okay. Oh, this is a sweet deal. What were they asking for this one again? 585. Okay, so now notice that the interest rate should be right here in this line. Interest rate, and they didn't put it in. Okay. So how do we find the interest rate? Well, you could get software like Lee has, Or what I do is I say, what were the VA mortgage interest rates on? So they're 3.1. So we'll see if you got it.
I need to see the address again. And then I'll-
Sorry,
And
it's
then I'll check your work.
26, he was doing this to me the other day. Yeah, we were doing this the other day. 2691, 132nd. Okay, so now we know it's 3.01 or roughly 3%. And then now we need to know the estimated loan balance, right? So what would my loan be if September 2021 at 3% interest?
You need the amount, total amount of the,
Yeah, for, what was it, 531?
do you have to say what my loan balance be today?
Today. Okay, let's see. It'll tell you if you didn't ask all the right. It'll say, hey dummy, what's the interest rate? Oh, didn't give it to me. What?
Put it in the.
Usually it'll do it.
Yeah.
Now, the assume list and assumable.com, they kind of do it already. Ooh, look at that. Gee whiz.
Yeah, that's what it comes up with. It gives you the whole formula so you can keep pumping, plugging stuff in.
Man, okay, there we go, 487. Okay, 487, let's call it 488, okay? So, yeah, so the gap, thank you, the gap is 100,000 or 97,000. But for 97,000, you can assume the 487 loan balance at 3%. So then, what is my payment? Oh, well, it would be based on the original loan amount, right? The original, because it's a 30-year. I'm just gonna use my mortgage calculator.
It still should be in your AI.
What was it, 531?
That's the original price, yeah.
I got an ad that just popped up. Hey, I never said this would be fast. Or easy.
No.
But this is the good news about this is the more complicated it is, the less competition we have.
Well, and it's good to do it this way because you'll remember it better than just putting in an AI.
Yeah, except my ad popped up on my mortgage calculator, so I can't get out of my ad mode here.
Probably like 2,500 a month.
So Sean, according to my tool, you were within $200 of the estimated loan balance.
Ninja.
So if they're gonna assume the loan, you wanna know what the payment is on the original for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
At 3%, is that what you're doing? Okay,
PITI.
at 3%.
No, this would be PI, and then we'd have to add.
Was that for bigger houses, the assumable amount? Is that you have?
2239 is payment interest, okay? Taxes. What are the taxes on this bad boy?
Is there an HOA?
Good question. I don't think there was a check.
It's $46 a month.
Did you find the taxes already?
No, for the HOA.
Oh, 46, where's the taxes?
At the very top.
$37.58.
Okay.
You found.
I feel like it's like 25.
3750, oops. 3758 divided by 12 plus 2239 plus, it's VA, so there's no PMI. So insurance, what does it say, 200 a month for insurance? So all in, you're at 2752. Did I do that right? Yeah, 27.
You should get the 46 dollars HOA.
So $2,800. So now think about this. Are you interested in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that's how many square feet? I lost it. 1771 square feet for $2,800 a month. And by the way, there are lenders that will lend the gap, but the difference between the sales price and the loan amount, they'll loan up to 95% loan to value, but the interest rate's like a HELOC. So it's like 9.25, 9.3. It's not great. So you have to have a super low, like if you had like a 2.75 interest rate and then maybe a, $150,000 gap that you're trying to make up, and then you blend those two, you probably end up around probably 5s, right in there. So it still makes sense. It's better than getting a 7% mortgage.
One of the mortgage brokers told me with those gaps, when they're a little bit bigger, when they do have to finance them, it messes with their DTI because now they're taking another loan.
Yeah, it counts
And
against you.
that gap you usually have to come to the table with, because getting another loan will mess with your debt to income on the assumable.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's.
Yeah, you gotta
they're
count the
finding ways
debt
to
against
actually bridge it.
Yeah, but a lender told you that because they don't like assumables. Yeah, seriously, don't take assumable advice from your lenders, okay? That's like somebody coming to us and saying, hey, I want a for sale by owner. We go, don't do that, it's a horrible idea. All lenders hate assumables, as they should. Right, especially when you send your buyer to them to get qualified and then you sell them an assumable, they really love that. Which I do that all the time. I'm like, hey, I need to get, you got a chance at it? Your loan sucks. I sold them this one for 3.75. Okay, so going back to these properties, if you go through these, there's not a ton of them, okay? There's not tons and tons and tons. There's 43. You can go through them, sitting there, watching Melrose Place reruns, right? You can sit there. Melrose Place was a TV show when you were you could just sit there and go through them and pick through the good ones. So the 3 that I brought for Power Up, that's what I did. It took me, like I said, it took me about 2 hours to go through, find all those properties, get all the information, put them into the PDF, the worksheet. But if you do that for 2 hours a week, and then you start pushing them out, right? And you start advertising. Do the same with the home builders. Call the builders and say, what properties do you have that have a lot of incentives or a massive rate buy down that I can promote to my database?
They text me back in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They've already got it figured out.
Yeah. And then like, go there and like film them, show up and be like, hey, because if you grab the MLS photo and you promote it, you're supposed to get permission from the agent to promote their listing, right? Now, the rule is they're not supposed to say no, but you still have to ask permission. It's a stupid rule. You're supposed to ask for permission, but they're not supposed to say no. But they might. But nothing will prevent you from being able to stand in front of the house and say, do you see this house behind me? This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that you can buy for $2,800 a month. You can assume their 3% interest loan at $2,800 a month. Call me to find out how. Easy. Right? Email list, push it out in the email list. Like, do a screenshot, text it to people. New home builders, go to the new home builder and be like, look, builder special, only one, right? Because remember, one of the things is why not to wait. Don't wait. This house is going to get sold. The builder just dropped the incentive to a 3.99 interest rate. Call me now, somebody's gonna buy this weekend. Actually, Nick sold 2 townhouses in the same neighborhood. One to his daughter and then the one to his daughter's best friend because the builder was doing a special that weekend only. So he's like, he grabbed his daughter, he's like, you're gonna buy this one, and she's like, oh my gosh, I want my best friend to live next door, and so sold one right next door. He only made 88,000 last month, so we shouldn't listen to him, because 2 months ago, he made 265,000 that month, so it was a down month for him. It was a pretty bad month. I'm sorry. Okay, any questions on this?
Can't wait for the video.
Okay, so did I give you a structure that you can repeat no matter the market? That was my goal today, not to say just do this, but understanding the marketing structure. Who's my target? What are their frustrations? What are the solutions that I can provide? What is the urgency? And then how do I get them with bait, not only of the messaging, but the house to make it look real and then put it out there. So what, really quick before we leave, what are all the ways you all can think of to market this? Because I know I've only named like 5. Ads like what?
Like Facebook ads, Instagram ads.
Yeah.
Social media reels.
Social media reels, yeah. What else?
What's the thing in command and call? Send out a newsletter.
Newsletter,
Blast.
email, newsletter, yeah.
Smart
plan.
Smart.
Your B2B, all you guys that are in Power Up, your B2B relationships. There's thousands, guys. I sold a house one time because I put this is no joke. Idaho Springs, I get this freaking house for sale. It's this junky little house. And I'm thinking, who is the buyer for this house? So I printed up a black and white sheet of paper with a picture of the house on it. And I cut those little tabs on the bottom, the peel off, here's my phone number. And I put it in the laundromat. And that's how I sold it. I tore the thing in the laundromat and said, I saw your ad at the laundromat. Swear to God. Because I thought, where is this buyer coming from? Where is this buyer every day? At the laundromat.
They have washer and dryers and all the rentals now.
Not up there. Not up there.
So this is the MLS and these are assumables. This is how we went in, like, it's pulling up only assumables, correct?
These
Or-
homes are active in the MLS and they have an FHA or VA loan. All FHAs and all VA loans are assumable. Okay, the difference is if you were to go into MLS and search assumable in the comments, well, one, or if you go into, if you go into loan type and you check assumable.
It's listing terms. And so just in.
But you're relying on the
Arapahoe and
agent to
Denver,
put in there.
Hold on, bear with me. I've got a little experience in this. The agent doesn't fill it out correctly.
Yeah, that's what I'm, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of agents that have homes that have assumable mortgages that don't know that they can sell them assumable. This is what we're circumventing, because if you pull the same list on MLS, you're probably gonna get 5. You get,
I got 36, and just Denver and Arapahoe.
okay, I didn't do Arapahoe.
I did Denver and Arapahoe, just that MLS, so that, yes, you do it, and you kind of have to cross-reference with realists to make sure. And some of them don't say it, and they are.
That's
When you
my goal.
cross-reference something new that just came up and kind of do this as a cross-referencing, you're gold, because no one else on the MLS knows.
So then can you, again, with VA,
Yes.
you have to be, in order to assume it, you have to be a vet, you don't have to, right? But the people with the loan, they have to like relinquish their rights until you pay it off.
They don't relinquish. What does the term relinquish mean?
Give up for good?
Give up for good. They
So what
don't
is
give
the
it up
word?
for good. They're
No, they give it up just until the new people pay it off, right?
paid off or refinance.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so don't use terms that sound scary. Relinquish is a terrifying term. Or lose. People say they lose their eligibility. They don't lose it.
Deferred.
It's deferred. It stays with this property until this property is refinanced or appraised. Because if we use scary terms, it's just gonna terrify the agent. right? Oh, you're gonna lose your eligibility. I don't wanna lose nothing. Right? Oh, your eligibility is gonna be tied up until this person refinances or sells. Okay. I can deal with that.
So you have an assumable, you purchase a property in Springs
Yeah,
where you assume the loan, right?
yeah.
Does the lender have to? I mean, they have to technically pre-qualify you or pre-approve you to take over the loan, or how does that work? Like, how does the
Yes.
how does the lender tell Sean is ready to go to assume the loan?
So once you're under contract, the seller asks for an assumable loan package, okay?
Okay.
And then that gets mailed to you, like this giant freaking 1987 loan docs. It's pretty awesome. And you have to fill it out by yourself, and then you mail it directly back to the lender, the servicing company. And then they assign you somebody to walk you through. It's really odd. Yeah.
Does it usually take a longer closing period, like with the mail, how much longer would it be than a typical?
On a quick end is 60 days, long end is 120. Here's the thing, you'll hear listing agents say, we don't wanna wait, okay? Your house has been on the market 90 days. You've already waited 90 days. Like, we would have been under contract and closed already. Right? And a buyer, is it worth waiting an extra month and a half to save $100,000? Because on an assumable, like on the assumable I bought, they had already owned it for 2.5 years. So I have 2.5 years reduced in the mortgage, and I have a lower interest rate. If I was to buy it with a regular loan, just the interest difference would have been $100,000 more in interest. So. Do you follow? Like,
So all you have to do is figure out what the purchase price was
what?
The original loan balance.
to get the original loan balance. The original loan balance.
Well, you need the original loan balance. Yeah, sorry.
Well, they could have put a different amount down.
Right, the loan balance,
Yes.
not the purchase.
Not the per, yes.
And then to assume an FHA, you don't have to qualify as far as your income rating?
You do. You've got to qualify just like, both of them, you still have to qualify just like your, like, so a veteran, even though I'm not a veteran, I could assume it. But my debt to income ratio had to match VA's requirements. FHA is the same. If you're gonna assume a FHA, you have to owner occupy. And you have to match the debt to income ratio and the credit requirements.
But if yours would be higher, they don't care, because you don't need to have, say, an FHA, but you can still get one then.
Yeah. Now, the downside to FHA is it has PMI. Right, so a VA doesn't have PMI. So if you get a 3% VA, no PMI, I mean, that's gold.
Because it's already paid up.
No, VA doesn't have PMI. They have
But
upfront.
FHA, if it's already passed.
No, that was my
Value doesn't that.
No, they don't remove it anymore. They used to. Yeah, you used to be able to get a reappraisal at 80%. Now they don't take it away. Right? Is that true?
On FHA, they don't, it never goes away unless you refinance.
Yeah, they stopped doing it.
Sean, that one, if you look, they've got 3 different loans on it. Go down a little more.
Do they?
Yeah, 377 plus 10,000 plus 10,000.
So that's probably the CHFA. Yeah, so this is their mortgage. And then this is their CHFA. Service link. What the heck?
Did they do like a cash out refi for $10,000? That's kind of what it looks like.
Oh, Service Link's a title company. That's not the lender.
Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Okay, it could be one of two things. It could be their CHFA loan, which would make sense. And then it probably got refinanced, or it could be a forbearance.
Maybe
Right?
scroll the lower, won't it tell you if it's in foreclosure right there? Oh, no, it's 2009. This last
Well,
one.
it doesn't
No.
give you. But Sean, I had asked you about one of those before, and I did reach out to Craig from Assumption Solutions
Yeah.
on one of those, and he basically said that the first is assumable, the second, and if there's a third, would have to be paid off at closing.
Right.
So you can't assume those.
You can't assume the CHFA note. Yeah. And if they're behind on payments, the payments have to be caught up at the time of the assumption. So sometimes as the buyer, you gotta pay it up front to get it caught up, which is a little risky, because if it doesn't close, you don't get that money back, the money's gone. But if it's a smoking good deal, I take the risk, you know?
You said VA can be, invest or not owner occupied, but FHA has to be owner occupied.
Yeah, VAs you can non-owner occupy with their eligibility in place. This one's 478. And 545. Yeah. All right, go get some bait, guys. I'm gonna be watching all of your social media, I'm just saying. I deserve that. Bob, I'll make sure you get that, Bob. I see that you didn't get it. Did you test yesterday? Is that right? Did you pass?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, congratulations.
I just sent mine were here.
Yeah, wow, that's really good. I think I got 76.
I don't like it, yeah, so my fingerprint is on Monday.
I was about to say, I got it figured out. You know, Highlands Ranch.
Yeah, because it takes like 1 week to get everything done.
Jack without a contract. I cannot get you. Here's, you know, a screenshot from their shop, like, they could be cash buyers for now. They're not, but they're planning on consuming it. If they do cash buy, yeah. Here's the-
Hey, Taya? Taya. So she
I've
came
had
from.
more issues with the agents on this
Like all they do.
than, like, mine was. I was hoping
Join
to
us.
discuss how the actual process.
Maybe you guys could trade agents. I know you gotta go. This is Alex, Alex is Taya. I'll just be
Like, this
real
other
quick. Alex
agent,
just got a real estate. She just passed her test. She mainly.
Like,
So we're talking about, you know, yeah, Keller, we have agents. that do that.
Yeah, said he was full time.
Sellers are-
Okay. Oh.
So we're selling her to you and just come over from. Midwest.
Oh, right.
Yours, they can buy the house.
So, which is only in.
That looks like it's for sale.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it
70 hours
looks like
a
you're
week
grinding.
minimum.
Yeah.
Are you looking for purchase properties yourselves or do you work with investors?
So Sean, you can or cannot then use those as
That's the
rentals?
whole point. And
Say what?
I've got a neighbor who wants to buy
Like.
what my mortgage would be. So that's I guess that's just, so I talked to her today, because I was like, it's not
Did she have money down or not?
probably, yeah.
Yeah, go to your inbox.
So.
Right, and then, now here's the issue that I'm having as I look into this.
Another one.
Right, so you go to this report, so one, standard. The gap is for the mortgage and their asking price $815. And
See, and mine
they-
came up different. My search.
I think I put in a custom, what price point will she go to?
I don't think I know the subtlety of the words.
This, yeah, so original list
So
price,
fix it
now,
would be right where I.
the mortgage.
I've already told you about
Did you
this.
get my email?
You've already emailed her for it.
So probably when I were on the field.
So she's the one who
Did I
reached
say
out to.
Brad?
And I'll do
So
something.
she will jump on the call.
That's so probably.
There are so many.
Oh, wow, you got time.
I'm sure if I
I'll text you as soon as we.
1059. It's too much.
on the, turning in your phone, can you, just go over once you're closed?
Wait,
Like, it's really how to say that word.
Except that they want the low.
It's locked.
Yeah.
The text
the emails
I'd like
where,
to
you know,
find a
how much
lender
do
that
you?
will fill that gap. That would
Libby
be
and I were
great.
sitting here like
That's what
literally copying
I have.
over every time, everything, so it's still
I mean, I find
excessive,
it
and we're like, okay, so can we have the
you're at
the
like a
real deal
6.
of what we should,
Might as well
and how
leave it at
the
a
best
12.
way to do it, and
But,
get into like data,
Yeah.
docs
It doesn't matter.
management, so that when the TC can put it on the one set, we end up doing it 2 weeks after she already said
Oh, they
everything.
want to?
So my docs management, like,
I don't do it.
Really?
If I think it's gonna be a problem for you, or there's, the house is like,
In Highlands
You
Ranch.
wouldn't do that
A
probably.
lot of
Actually, I'm just gonna have to
Guess
get
what?
some shady stuff together.
for you, I would have done that every, it's a, it's a
I
smooth deal.
literally, like, I'm trying to catch up on emails from when I moved, and I found like 4 of them, and I was like, crap, I haven't even done these yet, like, they just got lost in the shuffle, and that's when the shit would hit the fan, because that's when the business stuff,
You have a
right?
lot of personal stuff.
What?
You have a lot of personal stuff.
I did,
But
probably why I reacted
you're human.
improperly.
You're human.
My first-
And if you would have people that,
So look at this, this is only a 2.9
Understood.
on
I'll be
a
right down with
but you're in
it.
a price range where
44 loan balance.
to go that price range is
I know a
very
lot of people,
demanding,
I know a lot of people that put it
Have-
off.
Like to have.
but not in that
It's a huge gap.
arena of buying and selling.
What date would you put in to cap
They
your
are.
search range?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Cause you left it open into the day, and I did that, and everyone I clicked on, I'm
They
like,
thought
oh,
they owned us.
5-6, cause they bought in 23.
I got it.
Google,
Five,
what
six,
if we
that's why.
just go over 6%?
So mad
Okay,
at
that's
me,
what I
she just-
Over 6%.
1 minute, she said, this is how.
Assume list doesn't go over 5.
How come they're still taking
And I told her
offers?
it's
Like,
wrong
just
on that,
do it,
because
like,
There's a lot of us
They
that will
can't.
take a
She
5.5.
wanted it so bad,
Cut
and
the
then
gap is small.
goes there again, it flips out, and she's like, you should have taken that when the house was more than once. You should have asked them.
They're unrealistic.
I interviewed you with somebody else the other day, so. Heard about Fairplay?
You signed one of these, I believe, for me. You sign on. It's been revised. Because at the bottom, it was for Kevin Walker and not for Sean, when the attorney revised it, and then we put in, so we need it now in our files. There's been some new changes, if you just do the date, your name. Put your name and then sign the back, I need to go over some of the changes, so that some of it will apply to you, some of it will not.
Let me just.
Neither do mine, I'm like. Oh, really?
So
You
you
just
just
want
need to
your part of the
read
money here?
Sign it and send
Or
it.
they're leaving.
So
Oh,
if you were a
nice.
new agent, we would have 10 days to.
Yeah, that'll be good enough.
to
Like,
how it lives. We did put in
I mean,
Rita, and from the date
it's something that
come
helps.
in, so it will be
It's like-
the date today. Yeah, no, it is now, so from today. you
I need
have
to
180
find
days
different
to
places,
complete.
stores.
It is a 12 month.
Oh.
If you feel like you need more time.
Give me 100 days, I just need to do it.
Yeah, it's
I
in
guess
there,
so.
and there's a check off, there's business
Open
organization.
letter,
You do
then
have
when
to
I get a
go
phone, I
over
write it
hours
down.
of contracts
Yeah.
class each year.
Cool.
We go over contracts on Thursdays, so you're covered there, but if Keith Alba does a contract class.
I actually like that,
you're
that's how
already
I
So
covered.
do that.
1620.
Okay, so that's just, this is just your.
Your
Our
taxes.
meetings, is you have to produce.
That's going on all the time.
3
Yeah.
classes per month,
Oh,
either by Zoom or in person.
So I like to do
Oh,
CRM,
no,
because I
yeah,
have
that's
like
just
all
person,
these ways
just the
to
general
filter it
sessions.
and whatnot.
I know.
But my actual like pipeline, this
Or
is
if
terrible.
you watch them recorded, just say, hey, I caught the recorded class. That's fine too. When we do meet, we will set goals and we will be accountable for those goals that are set. Which we'll do, and then some activities we set, we want to go over any contracts, we, you know.
Our taxes are 1960.
Person,
But then I'll tell
compensation.
you exactly where,
You are.
2375.
you know, and how long it's been since I called them.
No, well, that's
Which, you know, you still see it for,
She looks at
they
the
get all
contract.
their notes and everything.
CC does not, so I am the
Right,
direct
so like, these are the people that.
No, I would definitely.
So if any, you fill out your contract.
That's what I wanted, yeah.
So yes, you can make those changes, then you send it to your.
Doesn't sync
Is she opposed to a house?
Oh, no,
ideal,
you'd rather.
But if.
Look at this.
like, if I
CTM,
get more leads
it's
from
the
my
contract.
CTM.
CTM.
635.
I can.
And just so you know, there is templates in Rita.
Sort them,
Go down
and then it'll
and
say like under
There's your
the
sheet.
section.
I just have, okay, go ahead, let's go over this, I have one question on that.
Okay,
So
and then compensation is still 10%.
Start with
Even though
your
there's
20
6 deals.
Which makes it that they don't.
It
get
is.
now.
No, it's always been
I've used
6
this.
for our
already
broker.
for
For our broker.
That's fine, and
Our
I told you
And
that
it's just
I,
like it keeps your.
if I get down there,
So when
I could be
get a call
interested
from
in doing
someone,
more, 'cause I just need a
search
left
the
name.
And I
And
have
then
all
this
our old
one-
tags, all my notes.
We'll see.
Big city.
And then we added
Oh,
this
it's
one.
a headache.
If anybody,
Except this one, I know I should have said
anybody
that.
needs
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
more help than the standard, we look over this,
Exactly.
we look over this,
Only
we look
annoying
over
part
that,
is-
where we're actually sitting down and going, fill this in, fill this in, fill this in. We
About
get to
2
attend an
years.
inspection, attend a
We're like,
closing.
these things were dead.
Right.
Like, I just need to go.
One night,
through
there's
it,
a
but,
whole day, 5 hours.
You know,
Billing
they
one
still
night.
get my emails, I guess, so.
One time Randy attended a swim inspection, one time he attended a closing. There will be issues with that, but it will not ever be. We will say that we're more than happy to do that, but that's gonna be. That's not, you will always know. ahead of
So this is
So I could.
5
Yeah, because I needed to switch. For, I need to pay for it.
June 7th.
So, and then you sign.
41.
Sign your name, or print your name, date, and.
Okay, do you want it as, it is? I don't know how you guys have it, I.
41 and
It's
they're
on
asking.
my license.
It's on your license, and then off to the side, you can just do skip. and-
Well, Skip's on my license, I talked to the state. I need to see, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's on your investor person, like, does she care where?
I did
She
that.
wants?
No, I mean, she'd like to
I
stay
like
in
him.
Wiltshire just because she lives there, but
Oh.
she's got one, she's got an,
25th.
property in Brooklyn, New York, she's got property down in Rhino, she's got, you know, all over.
What's her goal with investing? Is it to cash flow, is it to build?
To build wealth for her kids, you know, yeah, I mean, she was my next door neighbor and she rents the
And
house
then I'll
now,
email you.
and when her son, she'll have it paid off in 15 years.
Yeah.
And her son will then be 17, so when he goes off to college, he's got that for college fund, to sell, to
Thank
buy
you.
the third, to do what he wants.
I am
That's
too,
what
that's why they call me
she's
Skip.
buying whole.
I tell you, the best investment
Because
is.
of the Harry Senior, who's no longer here,
Harry Junior.
he's no longer
You
here
can
either.
find houses
And
that
then
are
there's
2,
Skip.
3 years.
Yeah, they call him Harry Junior, and then they gave me after my grandfather, and I said, okay, what do we do with that?
We've got houses
And so I
2
told
and
them,
a
I
half.
said, decided it was.
That's
That's all I
awesome.
care about.
7 days.
Thank you for doing this,
7 days.
that's awesome.
Never met the tenant. I was like, here's
Oh, and then
one.
another thing is,
Yeah.
is we're sending you.
And new properties, the nice part about new properties is they,